Today we're looking at programmable overdrive pedals.
Not me, sunshine.
Very nice. Fruity, I'd call that. Fruity tone.
Yeah, I'm already lost because I pressed the delay button and the overdrive changed.
I know, and I can tell you why. Because it sent out a MIDI message. Anyway, we'll get to that. Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Reluctant Mick here. Welcome.
This will be fun.
No,
All right.
It'll be awful.
Hang on 1 second. Sorry.
You gotta leave that in.
All right, I know what's going on.
The title of the video will give it away. This is about programmable overdrives and why you might want one.
Yes. Or
Dan's
not.
because what's happened, Dan? The slidey thing,
The automatone.
has come out.
It has.
Teach me how to say that.
Automatone.
Automotone.
Automatone.
Okay. From Chase Bliss Audio. Also, there's a Benson preamp and stuff in there as well, isn't there?
Yes. Yeah.
Golden Boy,
The Golden Boy.
Joey Landreth Jackson Audio, and a couple of and the OD200's been out for ages, but we haven't really looked at it yet. And of course, the Chase Bliss Brothers has been out for a long time, and we haven't visited that for ages. But the point is, programmable overdrives via
M1D1.
I can't even say it.
Okay.
I'm not even going to say it.
Okay, so we're not going to start with that.
Right.
We're going to get there eventually.
Okay.
Okay. So I want to start with the idea that getting more than one sound out of an overdrive pedal. Okay. And so, which is why we have the old SD2 on there, right? So the dual overdrive, this is an old Boss pedal. This is actually one I picked up in Japan. And I've been looking for one for a while. They're not that common, but there's a couple of really cool sounds in them. But what you'll notice is there are dual concentric pots with your level, tone, and drive, okay? Which allows you to set two different sounds and switch between them.
Yep.
So that's primarily what we're talking about. We're talking about creating sounds and being able to switch between them. Okay?
Yeah, because for anyone just catching up, if your standard common or garden overdrive pedal, such as this TS808 tube screamer I have here, it's got ostensibly two settings.
Sure.
Setting 1 off, setting 2 on, and then any adjustments you wanted to make after that could be done in 2 ways. One of which, turn these things and muck about with that.
Yep.
Or use your foot on the edge of the knob to turn it up or down, or the overdrive. And
Sure.
that was the level of programmability that I am comfortable with.
Sure. Now, but here's the question. No, hold on to that for a second. So the question is, if you wanted to go from that sound
to
this sound, what would you have to do?
Well, you'd have to turn that one off and that one on.
Exactly.
Unless you've got something like a programmable loop switcher.
Yeah.
So that's stage 1.
That's stage 1.
But yeah, in the old days, you
exactly.
put them right next to one another.
Yep.
So that with one foot switch, stomp, you could switch that one on and that one off.
If you could angle your foot right.
That's how I did it for years.
Okay, right. So, but the idea is, instead of having to turn that one off and this one on, with the programmable overdrive, I've got 2 sounds that I can sort of flip-flop between.
Yeah.
You know, so that's basically what's happening in the dual overdrive. I've got 2 sounds, and I can go instantly from a rhythm sound to a lead sound, which is the way they put it. All right.
And this will sound ridiculously old-fashioned to most people, because most people watching this will be aware of digital programmable multi-effects, where you could do that. You know, you can program in any sound you want. The problem with those digital programmable multi-effects from an overdrive point of view is, Dan.
Oh boy.
In our humble opinion,
a lot of them
they sound like junk.
Don't sound awesome.
Yeah. They don't sound as good, in our opinion, as good as a decent analog overdrive pedal.
Yeah, and they feel different as well. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
They can be made to sound great, but the way that they feel under the fingers can be a little bit weird. Anyway, so let's start with the most basic. Okay,
Yep.
So basically you'll see I've got this overdrive pedal in loop 1, and I've got it set up here on 2 switches. And you'll see when I switch between 1 and 2, you see the color of the LED changes. Okay?
Yeah.
And all that's happening there's a little remote jack inside here. And I've just programmed that up so that when I go to this foot switch, it closes the remote jack and that switches over to the other circuit.
If you didn't have a switching system, that would just be off a
little latching foot switch.
Yeah, any latching foot switch, which you would plug into here to switch the 2 overdrive modes on and off. If you didn't have a latching foot switch, is there a press and hold function?
There is a mode on there that you can just switch between them.
Yeah.
So, and also, if you remember when JHS did the collaboration with Boss and they did the
Angry Driver, very similar setup. Yeah.
Right. So if you have a play and have a listen to the rhythm sound I've got set up here. 2 amps using today. We've got the Imperial, the Tone King Imperial
Mark II,
the Mark II, and the Supro Black Magic.
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah, 2 different kind of amps for us. We fancy some different amps for a while. And we're loving this, in a big way.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, we like this too, but we
ticking the blackface
deluxe
reverb type tone.
Yeah, really nicely.
Yeah, really beautiful. Okay. So this is the, if we just hear the amps together.
Yep.
We get this. Okay, here is the what we'll call this a rhythm sound from the dual overdrive.
Goodly.
Right. So, and that's as simple as it gets. 2 sets of controls on the one pedal, switching between them.
Yep.
And it is a different circuit between the rhythm and lead. Not that the rhythm one's okay, but I love the lead channel on that. It's really great.
Sounds killer.
Yeah. It's really cool. So there we go. That's our most basic programmable overdrive.
Yes, because you've got 2 sounds, 2 sets of pots, and you can switch between them.
Boom. Right. So then let's have a look at the OD200, because this is the other end. This is the digital programmable overdrive. So the SD2 is obviously all analog.
Yeah.
Right? 2 analog circuits in there that switch between. The OD200 is a digital pedal that gives you all the parameters for every type of, you can choose your overdrive type, all the different EQ types, boost types and things. And that lets you store those sounds as presets.
So I'll give you some headlines, Dan.
Sure.
12 modes.
Okay.
12 modes.
Yep.
That go from everything from like most of the common overdrives you can imagine.
Okay.
Through fuzzes. So like tube screamer types, etc., etc., etc. All the things you would imagine. Plus 3 things that Boss is calling MDP, which is some marketing acronym for a bit of technology that is a totally new sound.
Okay.
So 12 modes, 15 switchable boost options.
Boy, oh boy.
So everything from like a clean boost all the way through to, you can even have a metal zone as a boost.
Right.
So in addition to your 12 overdrive modes, you've got 15 boost modes.
Sure.
Anybody good at maths will know what that means. 100 and...
Lots.
Yeah. 200.
112 T.
Yeah. 20,000 teen. And in addition, you can have them series or parallel, the boost and the overdrive.
Yes.
And it's got a noise gate.
Yes.
And you can have 4 presets off the top panel or a manual mode.
Yep.
Or, and here's the interesting bit, 128 programmable memories.
Okay. So obviously we can't go through all that because then we'd be here for weeks. But what we'll do, we'll just quickly go through some sounds so you can hear some of those different modes.
Yeah.
And then we'll just go through, we've got those 4 memory options there. We'll just scroll through those so that we can hear, changing from one sound to the other one.
Yep.
Okay.
I've literally no idea how you change the boost.
So I do.
Oh, so you do. There you go.
Yep. So there's our boost functions. We have the memory modes are here, or we find a sound, we press and hold that, and when that flashes, then we've got the boost on or off.
Right, okay. And presumably to select the boost, you go into the edit mode.
Yeah.
And change the parameter of the edit mode.
Yeah. It's all that stuff.
Yeah.
But so anyway, on manual mode, let's if you have a quick play, and I'll just go through all the different drives.
Okay, tell you what, you play.
Okay.
And I'll go through this knob here, yeah?
Yeah. right?
Crazy amount of sounds in there.
So that's the thing. With a pedal like this, it's the functionality of it is the amount of sounds that you can get. Right?
Yeah.
Because they've sort of modeled every type of circuit you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Now, there'll be some sounds in there that you dig and some sounds that you don't. But, let's say that you're doing a cover gig and you need to sound like, 1,300 different overdrive pedals, then something like that can be really handy. And that you can program those sounds up and store them. And so, with the memory boost, that button there, so there's 4 different presets set up there. So if we just scroll through those, for example, there were just 4 presets, different overdrives that were programmed up that you can go in and edit and move between.
Like all the 200 series, whether you're talking about the delay, the reverb, or the modulation, that programming process is really simple.
Sure.
Yeah, just to get the 4 off the top, if that's what you want.
Yeah. The other side of this it's called the hybrid drive. It's got a JFET input, I think.
I don't know. I'm guessing that.
Okay.
It's just it marries digital modeling technology and analog together to make the different drive.
Sure.
So part of it's analog, part of it's digital.
Okay. And another good example of an overdrive like that is the Strymon Riverside
and the Sunset.
Yeah. They do a similar thing. They have like an analog input circuit, and then they program the rest done digitally.
Yeah.
So it'll be sort of along that vein, or in that vein. But yeah, for as far as ultimate flexibility is concerned, they're great.
Yeah, because if you're of that mindset, and maybe we'll get into this a bit later, but there are some people who like to have everything programmed and flick a switch and it all changes and there's your sound.
Sure.
And there are some people who just can't cope with that at all and would rather be able to just bend down and twist the knob. What's nice about the OD200, one of the things that's nice about the OD200, if you're in a preset, then obviously the knobs don't change. We'll come on to that in a bit. But you can just bend down and just quickly change the treble or the bass, or
yes, because you've got knobs in front of you.
Or you can turn it down a bit. You know, if it's just one of the big issues I always had with programmable digital multi-effects was, you finish singing the end of verse 3 and you're about to go into the guitar solo and you're holding a note while singing. You kick the solo sound on and all of a sudden it's so quiet you don't know what's happening, or it's so loud everyone's dying in the first row of the audience.
That has been my experience.
Yeah, with old school pedals, what you can do is just quickly bend down and turn it down or up. Yeah. Easy peasy. Yep. With anything programmable that requires a menu, there's 4 button presses before you can do anything.
Yeah.
If you're playing the same venue and the same places night in, night out, the band's all really rehearsed and together, then you'll have all that set up and it won't be such a big deal.
If you're doing a show, if you're in a pit doing that sort of stuff,
and that's the advantage of that, isn't it?
Yes.
But it's never been my experience.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, so that's the digital or singing or dancing side of things.
We should, sorry, just before you go on, we really should do a show on the OD200 and compare it to some stuff.
Absolutely.
Because you just heard like a bunch of sounds from it there. We should actually go, does the Tube Screamer sound like a Tube Screamer?
Okay.
In the future.
Yeah,
perhaps.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have a look at the Chase Bliss Brothers now. So this is all of that digital programmability, but done in analog.
Yeah.
All right. So if you imagine that all the switches and all the little dip switches and the knobs and that are digital switches and digital pots. All right. The circuit that's doing all the overdrive is still analog.
So the audio is analog.
The audio is all analog, digital. But all those, the resistance changes, in the pots and that is all being controlled digitally.
That's their strapline, isn't it? Analog sound, digital brain or something.
Yeah. So
It says it on the pedal.
Was it?
It's part of their brand.
digital brain, analog heart.
There we go.
There we go. Right. So, so this is, there's two circuits in here. Okay. We've got like an overdrive, a overdrive boost and a fuzz. And so you can create your sounds with that. You can have them parallel, in series, all that stuff. And once you've created your sound, you can store that as a preset. Okay. So for example, I've got the MIDI coming out of here, and I've just got two presets set up in the Brothers. And you'll see that when I press this foot switch, the lights in that change. It goes to, a certain sort of preset, which would be this sound. Really great.
I don't know why they put neck pickups in guitars.
Sorry?
I don't know why they put neck pickups in guitars. Apart from Strats.
Apart from Strats, of
Yeah.
course. So there's that sound. But I'm going to send a MIDI message to the Brothers to go to a different preset.
Yeah.
All right. And we go from this. So again, I've got all my EQ control. I've got the two different circuits. I can manipulate those, get the sounds I want, but then save those sounds as presets.
So we said the DD200 has got, the OD200 has got 128 possible presets.
Yep.
Do you have to, when you're setting up the MIDI on that, do you have to create a preset and then recall that preset via MIDI? Or are the individual parameter things recallable via MIDI? Or is that the same thing?
No. So it's a really good question. There are two sorts of MIDI messages, because we're going to get onto that in a second. This is called a PC message, a program change message.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine, these have got 128 different slots that you can create a sound and store it in that slot, right?
Yeah.
We call it program. And what I'm doing here is I'm sending a program message to say, okay, recall sound number 7.
Yeah.
And then it brings that sound back up.
Yeah.
So all the knobs that have been dialed in, it's stored as that program change.
So you basically set the pedal up as you want it, and then you go to your MIDI device. Remember this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right. It's
so
the
that's-
same thing with the OD200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has the Brothers got 128 as well
Yes. Yeah. It's, I think, on the front you can access a few, but via MIDI you can access 128 different presets.
then? That's set one covered then.
Exactly. Now, but one of the issues with the analog, like the Brothers, for example, is you can't really see where you are. Unless you've got some sort of readout that you've programmed to say what that's doing.
Yeah.
It's the knobs are static. When you change a knob, it'll change that sound. But by looking down at the pedal, you can't really see where you are.
Yeah, that's so on the OD200, for example, let's say you've got your preset going, and it just so happens that the drive knob is here where
Yep.
it is currently. It might actually be here.
Exactly.
So when you change it, the second you touch it,
It goes to where
it'll go to like an extreme
Yeah.
version of that. So that can be a bit of an issue. but-
Yeah, exactly. That's been a problem.
Yeah, I think one way some pedals, the one way they deal with that is like Strymon, I think, does it where the LED will flash a certain color when the knob is in the position of the program.
Yes. Yeah. Right. And that's really clever, actually.
I'm like, oh god, we're on song 6 by this. The singer's walked off, and the bride wants her money back.
Okay, so there we've got a couple of sort of PC message MIDI things. Now let's have a look at the Golden Boy. This is our dear friend Joey Landreth's sort of new signature pedal, air honk.
Yeah, honk. We stopped honking people for
stopped
reasons
honking.
we don't really understand.
Yeah.
So
Now this uses the other sort of MIDI message called a CC message or a continuous control message.
we had PC message.
A PC message
And
this is
CC
CC message. So this doesn't actually store presets,
Okay.
right? What this will do, you've got different. So it's based around a blues driver, a blues breaker type circuit, and it has different sorts of blues breaker circuits in it.
Do you want some headlines, Dan?
Please.
Let me give you the headlines.
Okay.
Has 4 versions of classic Bluesbreaker derived pedals.
Right.
One actually being a vintage Bluesbreaker amp.
Okay.
One being King of Tone.
Oh, well, lovely.
One being Timmy-esque.
Oh, it's a Timmy-esque blues breaker.
Well, in the asymmetrical clipping diodes with a certain amount of headroom, it is.
Look at you.
I watched the video, didn't I?
You did.
And the last one is a higher gain mode with lots of clipping and compression.
Right.
Oh yeah, uses tube screamer type diodes to do the clipping
Oh, cool.
because it's a take on the Broken Arrow,
Yes.
which has all the same functionality, but which is more kind of 808 based.
Right.
But Joey's not really an 808 kind of person, so he said, "Can we do the same thing but have it
Blues breaker.
blues breaker derived?" In addition to those 4 modes, you've got 4 levels of boost,
Right.
which is a I've written it down. It's a MOSFET boost.
Okay.
So you can go from like 4 levels of MOSFET boost, plus each one of the 4 Bluesbreaker type circuits, denoted by the colour of the LED on the left, has 4 stages of gain.
Okay.
So green, you can have 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%.
Okay.
100% is wherever the gain knob is set.
I see.
And down from there,
Okay.
versions of that. So you've got 4 circuits,
Yep.
of which there are 4 levels of gain in each,
Yep.
plus 4 levels of boost.
Okay.
So it's 4 times 4 times 4.
Okay. Cool. Well, let's go through the circuits then and have a quick listen. So if you have strung arch, what's the first one?
It goes amber, green, magenta, blue. Amber is the vintage Marshall amp.
Is that amber? Yes, that
Amber
would
is
be
like a
amber.
yellow colour.
Oh, let's go with that one. All right. So
That's red, isn't it?
yeah, but that's what I got. Look.
Okay.
That's red. So
Yeah.
amber, green,
Green, magenta.
magenta.
Yeah.
It's avocado.
It's purple after the KOT, I think.
Purple. Okay. Right. There we go. So
Yeah,
here
red.
we go.
Sorry,
Right.
Brad and Joey.
Turn yourself. There you
Yep.
go.
Yeah, if you turn the boost off for a sec, and then the double foot switch gives you the
The different gain stages.
brighter and dimmer LEDs. I
Okay.
think.
So start the lowest. There we go.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Joey.
So
I
those,
didn't. By the way, I deliberately didn't touch the controls on the guitar during that,
Sure.
so that I wasn't varying anything that the pedal wasn't doing.
Yeah. And you see, I touched the gain knob at the start and the volume knob, but I didn't really touch any of the EQ. There's a 3-band EQ on there,
Yeah.
but none of that stuff is programmable. The EQ isn't programmable. It's just those functions. It's going through the
4/4 and the 4.
4/4 and the 4.
Yeah.
And you send these CC messages to access those functions.
Yeah.
And that's how you would. But that's really cool. If you wanted to go from the your KOT to your thing with a different boost level, you can do that.
Sounds killer, by the way.
Sounds awesome.
I mean, Joey's our mate, so we're not going to say it doesn't sound. Well, we would actually, but it really does sound good.
Sounds wonderful.
It really does. I think these amps are helping today.
Man, I'm so impressed. I mean, the Supros always sound good, but boy, that King Tone sounds just awesome.
It does.
Really, really good. Okay, so we've gone from really simple programmability, just switching between two different analog circuits, fully programmable, a million different sounds and presets and such done digitally. We've gone to digitally controlled analog
In the Brothers.
with the Brothers,
Yeah.
And then we've done sort of CC message turning on different parts of the circuit.
Yeah, which is also digitally controlled analog, by the way. And
Yes.
I should just add that that's the first time Jackson Audio has put MIDI in a pedal.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we'll take all of those features and we'll do this.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Okay, so what we have here, basically we've got a Benson preamp,
Yeah.
right?
If you've never seen a Benson preamp, looks like this.
Yep. And we're big fans of that. It's a wonderful sounding preamp.
Yeah.
But we also have extra EQ functions. We've got extra clipping diode functions. We've got fuzz functions in there. But the other big thing that this pedal has got is that you can see how things are set. Because I've got 3 sounds set up, right? So if you play for us for a minute, Mick, and I'm just going to go between the 3 sounds. Okay, so
Sorry, I was all over the place there, but you get the idea.
you get the idea. So we can look down and see, all right, because we've got the motorized faders, we say, okay, that sounds great, but I want to have a bit less bass. So play for us a sec. And now I can turn on the mid control. I can change the diodes, go from, there's no diodes now. So now we've got the sound. Yep, great. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to press this button here, and that's now stored. So if I go to the sound here, right? Back to there.
I know we're all about programmability today. I know that's what
Yep.
it's about. It sounds spectacular.
That's going straight to the pool room.
It
Pool room being my pedalboard.
it's let me try and put some useful adjectives on that. It just sounds like it's got tremendous headroom.
Yes.
It feels unbelievably responsive to
Yes.
play, and the kind of fidelity in it is giant.
Yes. So
This fidelity is awesome. This
Yes.
fidelity is good. I wasn't feeling it in this.
sure,
Maybe there's editing to do
sure.
in terms of changing the sound and everything, but the fidelity difference between that and that is colossal.
Yeah. So, the pedal is big, and you've got to weigh that against something is because what digital allows you to do is have something much more compact, and you're not going to get there's a flavor, there's a character to that sound that's going to be inherent in all the sounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to, like that is never going to sound like a metal zone. You know what I mean? It's always going to have a flavor of the Benson preamp, a flavor of that circuitry.
Yeah.
However, the flexibility between being able to turn on the fuzz. I mean, so just as a aside, have listened to this fuzz.
Why don't you have a play for a bit?
All right. So this is the gated fuzz. And to go from that to so it's turning on, it's switching on that transistor gate, it's turning on the different silicon or the different germanium or silicon diodes, but also being able to look down and see where you are.
Yeah, is a huge deal.
Yeah.
The that control in the middle, does that say Q on it?
Yes.
And that's your
mid-range.
your mid-range, yeah.
So the mid-range is a function that you can either have not on, have pre-gain or post-gain.
Wow.
You can choose the frequency, and you've got 3 different Q levels, and then choose the amount of mids.
See, for me, and it might be that the OD200 has that functionality as well. There's certainly some really interesting stuff in the way that it does series and parallel.
Yeah.
But for me personally, because, if you take the world of Overdrive sounds,
Yep.
I want these.
Sure.
I don't want necessarily that.
Yeah.
So something like a selectable Q, Q being how wide the hump or cut
The bandwidth of that. Yeah.
And being able to have it pre or post is way more useful than 18 metal zone
Of course. Yeah.
things
So pre or
that I'm never
post.
gonna use.
So let's have a play, because the mid control is really interesting. So just turn yourself on for a second.
You're looking really nice today. Maybe
So-
you'd like to go for dinner.
I'm gonna put the mids post gain so we can hear them clearly.
Yeah.
So there's our mids. Of course, you can put the mid control on an expression pedal and sweep that backwards forward. So it is that, for me, it's that perfect marriage of MIDI technology, but it's still very hands-on. You know what I mean? Move things where you want, hit store, you're done.
And what's cool, anything on a motorized fader, if I touch this, I'm going to break the motor. But it obviously just disengages the motor
like your
Yeah.
normal. Yeah. So
I mean, practicality is an interesting topic, isn't it? Because regular viewers of the show will know that Dan and I are not that precious about our gear
yeah,
in terms of stuff getting stepped on and scratched. And,
sure. I don't like it being nicked, but apart from that,
Well,
it's all right.
we're precious about owning our gear, but not so much about, it staying in pristine condition or
Sure.
anything. So even at the sedate kind of gigs I do these days, I'd be worried about that on my pedal board.
Right. Sure. I mean, it's personally, I love how it looks. I love the wooden, there's a lot
it's
of
mega.
detail, a lot of imagination's gone into the design
Yeah.
of it. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be more worried about that than I would be about any vintage fuzz or thing I've got on my board.
Yeah. I mean, I guess where I was going with that was, again, purely as a personal opinion and as somebody who approaches the guitar in the way I do, that, because it sounds really preampy.
Sure.
What I was talking about with the fidelity and the amount of headroom and everything in it, it sounds really preampy. So
Sure.
overdrive pedal, yeah, sure, it does loads of great overdrive sounds, but it sounds really preampy. So in a studio,
Yeah.
you got that and your, I don't know, whatever you use after that, some sort of IR of choice or even direct and then just EQ after that. I could,
Yeah, it's great though, isn't it?
yeah, whereas that to me feels like the live tool
Sure. Yeah, right. Okay.
because it's small, easy.
Yeah.
I mean, do
And
what
you
you
can
want.
so I guess you've got, they all sound different, they all have different functionality, and I guess it's just to give you an idea of, people say programmability, what does that actually mean? Well, there's different ways you can approach it. There's really simple ways you can switch in between two sounds, or extreme MIDI CC expression control, motorized faders, and there's and everything in between. So it just depends on the sort of gigs that you're doing, sort of sounds that you're after. Yeah. Out of those five, what would be which one would suit you? If you had to choose one.
Probably the Broken Arrow.
Okay.
And I'm not just saying that because of Joey, Golden Boy, sorry. I'm not just saying that because of Joey, but because the intuitive nature of being able to flick through those four things
Sure.
and having the kind of LED brightness, I can cope with that.
Yeah,
Although I
yeah,
guarantee you, like in the middle of a solo, I'll be like, oh no, am I on maximum brightness or minimum brightness?
And you switch between them again to see, yeah.
Because one of the things, I'm never going to use MIDI as long as I'm breathing, and definitely not after I'm not breathing. So it's lost on me in a way.
Sure.
That level of functionality. What I care about is if it sounds amazing, which is why we end up using the gear we end up using.
Of course.
But the sonic, I mean, that is everything.
Yeah.
It feels like it's everything.
Yeah.
Incredibly everything. The problem, to come back to the top of the show, with do-it-alls for me,
Yeah.
is it's kind of 99 versions of meh.
Yeah. I get it.
Or it's 99 versions of okay. The what's the famous saying? Jack of all trades, master of none. And that's great, because what that means is portability, value for money, in most cases, easy replaceability,
Yep.
minimum hassle, all of those things. There's a huge amount of benefit to doing that.
Definitely. And there are some gigs where that's very appropriate.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, if you're in the West End doing a show night after night that needs to be exactly the same every
Yes,
night,
true.
and you're playing everything to like a MIDI clock,
Yeah.
and it's sending out, and it's going to change everything for you.
Yeah.
So in those sorts of things, yeah.
And in many cases, it can be better because, in no pit in the world are you going to get 6 AC30s down there doing We Will Rock You. It doesn't work, does it? And
no.
So, yeah, totally get it. I don't know. I mean, everyone in here, me, you, Simon, and Fraser, are going to want to steal that.
Yeah.
So it needs to go somewhere where we can all have access to it.
Okay.
Because I can see that wanting to be used a lot,
Yeah.
especially for recording,
Yeah, sure.
because of the fidelity.
Yep.
But I'm seriously thinking about putting that on my board.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Sorry, I didn't ask you the question, Dan. What would be your takeaway?
Well, I love the lead sound in the ST2 for certain things. I think it's really great, but there are some sounds in the Brothers. The parallel thing was really cool. My KOT is back on my board, so I've got that covered, the blues bracket side of things.
You're covered.
The Automatone, I think, is it's not just look at this. That's just awesome, right? I love that, but sonically, I just think it sounds absolutely incredible.
That's what matters, isn't it?
Exactly. And so it ticks the most important box for me.
When I got my first car with electric windows, first thing my dad said was, well, there's another thing to go wrong.
Right, okay.
So
Sure.
Are they going to fail, those faders?
I don't know.
So I guess we tend not to talk about price very much on TPS because I think Dan and I are both of the opinion that even stupidly priced overdrive pedals like £350 is still good value if you use it for 20 years and you love it and it never breaks down.
If you connect with it and you're using that as a way to express yourself,
yeah,
it's great value for money.
And for sure, Tone City,
same thing.
whatever, for 29 quid.
Bad Monkey, all that. There's the really great cheap overdrives that sound really good.
Yeah, so you stick those two things together, and the 351 seems like a lot of cash because this is a different league again, though, isn't it?
It is.
So this is £350 is serious money, but this is serious money.
Serious money.
It's like upwards of double that.
Double it, yeah. So there you go. There's all the sounds you get from that one by separate overdrives. And away you
Well,
go.
I mean, I'll do a visual demonstration, Dan. How much are these?
If you're willing to wait for them, they're not crazy money. But if you're not willing to wait for them, they'll cost you 300, 400 quid on eBay.
And we think that sound is in there?
It's in there, yeah. I'm not sure.
Credibly?
Yeah, okay,
Used TS10,
sure.
if you can find one. I heard the mid-range in there.
Yeah,
That sound is in there.
Yep.
Credibly.
Yep.
Etc., etc. Just keep going. We don't really need to carry on making that point. There's loads of great sounds in there.
Yeah.
But, oh God, it sounds like I'm boss bashing. The KOT doesn't sound as good as the KOT. It just won't. We know it won't. Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that's for another day.
Yeah.
We can explore that.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I thought that was fun.
Yeah. Will you incorporate this into your main pedal board?
There's a very strong chance that I'll purchase and incorporate an automaton in there. Because I think it sounds amazing. I love the functionality, being able to tweak between songs and stuff. And my board's sort of set up to perfectly make use of all the functions in it.
Yeah, because what we haven't talked about at all is how do you change the MIDI? What do you need in order to send a program change or a continuous control message?
Sure. So yeah, any MIDI controller, and there's some great ones out there. Like the Morningstar stuff is really great.
Yeah.
Not crazy expensive, and it'll send all the information that you want. I think when I saw Ariel's last touring rig, it was all Chase Bliss audio pedals and a Morningstar MIDI controller, and just doing everything. It's great. And he would have his songs set up and program the pedals up like that. But there's any MIDI controller. The G2 sends out PC messages. It sends out some CC messages. But for CC stuff, something that's a specific MIDI controller to send out CC, then and that's what you need to take advantage of the things like in the Golden Boy to you send out CC and move faders around, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So CC's a slightly different thing.
Yeah, so just to recap that, program change goes change A to B.
Yep.
And continuous control goes turn this up and down.
Exactly. Turn up A knob down here, turn B knob here, turn, So
Or turn 5 things up and down.
Exactly, exactly. So, but, MIDI, simple PC stuff can be really handy, and it's not crazy difficult to get your head around. Which is, I use some MIDI stuff, and I can see myself using that in the board because it just works so well, makes so much sense.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool. I think you should play it for a bit because you didn't really play it, did you?
I would be very happy to play.
I spent ages adjusting the mid-range, trying to boost it like a tube screamer without the mids turned on.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah, it was good. So that was learning on the spot there.
Brilliant.
From that pedal show.
Brilliant.
Spectacular. I'll say again, the fidelity is proper. impressive.
And the way it feels under the fingers as well,
Yeah.
it's just really beautiful.
Yep. Cool.
There you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Also, massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is
Anderton's Music of Guildford in Surrey.
and in Australia.
Would be Pedal Empire of Brisbane, Queensland.
And there are also links in the description.
Yes, click them down. Sweetwater, go there, buy stuff, and Dan and I become rich beyond our wildest dreams.
It's unbelievable. Also, massive thank you to everyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed t-shirts and various accoutrements, various
pedals,
things.
strings, pencils, all kinds of things. It's how we fund the show predominantly.
Brilliant. There we go. Cheers. Have a fantastic week and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.